Tonight on KGW News, a risky getaway as a shoplifting suspect clings to a vehicle barreling down the interstate. Then, how police now appear to be focusing on a Gresham woman's husband 30 years after her death.
It is time for us to get justice for Astrid.
Plus, a unique perspective from the air with an Air Force team fighting one of Oregon's wildfires.
It's something that we love doing, protecting the community.
And later, what the Trailblazers have just agreed to ahead of a city council debate on the future of MOTA. New at 11, an update on a cold case from over 30 years ago, the death of a Gresham woman that's now been called a homicide, with her husband, it appears, now the focus of a police investigation. We're glad you're with us tonight. I'm David Mulco. Catherine Cook's here with more on the case. Catherine, it's important to note the husband has not been arrested or charged, but police are calling him a suspect.
That's all correct, David. The husband, John Bridges, is now 86 years old and lives in Missouri. Gresham police say they need the public's help and are hoping someone remembers something from more than 3 decades ago to help them close this case. This is John Bridges. Gresham police just named the now 86-year-old as a suspect in the 1993 homicide of his wife, Astrid Bridges. But he has not been arrested or charged.
While the evidence right now points at Mr. Bridges, we believe pretty strongly, we're not going to rush to judgment. We're going to complete the investigative steps and follow all of the evidence wherever it leads.
2,500 miles away in Kentucky, police in Louisville just ruled the 1972 death of Bridges' first wife, Joyce Mabel Bridges, as a homicide. But police have not named John Bridges as a suspect in that case.
They need every little tidbit that they can get to get justice for these women who've been killed.
Carla Barnhart still lives in the Gresham neighborhood where Bridges and Astrid once called home. She remembers hearing about her death and says she was suspicious at the time.
I am so happy to hear that someone's finally going to investigate this.
Back then, the medical examiner ruled Astrid's death accidental. But this month, new evidence led police to rule her death a homicide.
It is time for us to get justice for Astrid.
Gresham Police Detective Adam Wright says investigators just served a search warrant at Bridges' home in Missouri. He says Bridges was a pastor in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, has adult children, and is currently married.
I can say we've talked with family, and I think they're understandably conflicted about this information.
A lot to go on there. Gresham police say they are working with detectives in Louisville who are looking into the homicide of Bridges' first wife. Again, they're asking anyone with information to give them a call. David.
Yeah, so many questions there. Catherine Cook with our top story. Thanks, Catherine. To the wildfires torching central and eastern Oregon now, with Oregon's Department of Forestry saying nearly 1.8 million acres and counting have burned this season. That's roughly 19 times the size of the city of Portland. How's that for perspective? One of the wildfires, we're tracking the Grasshopper Fire burning southeast of Mount Hood in Wasco County, with the governor invoking the act that allows her to send extra help. Here is a map of the evacuation zones with more than 2,000 people under level 3 go now notices. That's in red. This fire was just 4,500 acres on Sunday. It's now closing in on some 20,000 and with no containment. To the south, crews are making some progress on the bench fire that's threatening homes in and around the Warm Springs Reservation. That fire now over 20% contained. Alma McCarty spoke with tribal leaders. It almost sounds like some good news, though still a long road ahead.
Yeah, certainly, David. I'm told that nearly 3,000 people live on the reservation, and this fire has impacted the vast majority. Still under a level 3 evacuation notice as firefighting continues.
This was the bench fire Friday, with flames lighting up the night sky.
When I looked out and looked over at the fire initially last week, I thought it was done.
But since then, the fire has only ballooned in size.
The wind would just shift, and 90 degrees within minutes, it would just go the other way. And it ran so fast because a lot of it, some of the grasslands it just skidded along the top.
Edward Henderson, Secretary Treasurer and CEO of the Warm Springs Tribe, says every acre burned in the 60,000-acre fire comes with more anxiety and fear.
As the tribal members were having to move and the stress of, everything, and it's very, very, very stressful.
With 80% of the population under evacuation orders, we've heard this week from those directly impacted.
When the evacuation alert came at a level 2 for us to get ready to go. I made the decision myself as a prior firefighter to stay here in my home and make a stand to protect it.
Those firefighters are risking their life and their safety to help us. And in my own words, I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful to them.
This community eager to see progress and containment, with more than 800 personnel dedicated to the bench fire.
There's a recovery fund set up by the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, and we will have a link to it on KGW.com. That page also includes other ways to help and who to contact for donation drops or to volunteer. David?
I know there are so many people out there who want to do something. Thanks, Alma. You know, firefighters from all over are helping battle some of the largest fires. Let's tell you about a pair of C-130 Hercules flown by a team based in Colorado Springs. They've been flying out of Klamath Falls since early this month, dropping fire retardant over and over again to slow the flames' forward progress. So far, the crew says it's made about 75 drops.
It's something that we love doing, protecting the community, protecting the people, and making sure that we safeguard people's livelihoods.
Right now, we need all the help we can get, right? Major Trans says his crew will be in Oregon for as long as needed. Let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri once again tracking fire weather conditions, including in the gorge. Joe, what are you watching?
Yeah, I'm paying close attention to what's going to take place this weekend. Air quality is going to be impacting a lot of people throughout eastern Oregon, but a fire weather watch will take effect from Saturday morning, stays in effect all day. It'll expire on Saturday night. The concern is the high fire danger there. Not only is it dry, but the winds are going to be picking up gusts up to 30, 40 miles an hour throughout the day. That's the concern to potentially spread more wildfires that are burning throughout parts of the eastern side of the state. We also have that air quality alert that's up until now Friday morning. It's been continues to get extended. That's because all those wildfires burning throughout the central and eastern side of the state are just pushing in very poor air quality. So as we look at the winds tonight, they'll be relatively quiet, and near the Columbia River Gorge, it could be looking at anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour. No advisories just yet, but as you go into the next couple of days, the forecast will be changing a little bit. As we look at the air quality, a good portion of the state is in the good category, but you travel into where all those fires are burning, you can see near Madras, just south of Madras, it's unhealthy. That's the case throughout parts of eastern Oregon tonight as well. And as we go into the next couple of days, the forecast really won't be changing, David. We're still going to be seeing sunny and warm conditions out there and no threat of rain, at least on the east side of the state. There is on the west side of the state. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, rain, not so much a threat because we really do need it. Thanks so much, Joe. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a McMinnville man is facing sex abuse charges. Investigators worrying he could have other victims. The Yamhill County Sheriff's Office alleging the abuse occurred between 2014 and 2019. They put out his picture saying Louis Straub sexually abused a minor that he regularly had contact with. Detectives arrested him on Tuesday. Anyone who has information, including on other victims, should call the Sheriff's Special Investigations Unit. That number is at the bottom of your screen. Daimler Trucks plans to close its North Portland manufacturing plant by the end of the year. This will impact about 375 people who work at the Swan Island facility. Daimler says it's transitioning manufacturing operations to the Carolinas, though it will still keep its North American headquarters in Portland. A last-ditch effort to save the Lloyd Center and its ice rink has officially fallen short. That's after Portland City Council rejected any and all appeals to the center's master plan. That means the mall is set to close for good on August 8th. That's a week from Saturday. The redevelopment plan now to transform the neighborhood into a mix of housing, retail spaces, and parks. And a former mayor of Woodland, Washington, and state patrol officer was in court today to face charges related to theft and accusations he destroyed public records while in office. Will Finn and his wife Heather allegedly used her boss's debit card to pay for $10,000 in personal expenses, including a trip to Mexico. At the same time, records show Will was being investigated for destruction of public records while he was mayor, in part by wiping his city work phone. The couple is due back in court in a couple of weeks. To new political turmoil tonight for one Washington County town where the mayor of North Plains resigned a day after the city manager stepped down. Mayor Aaron Dumbrow was just elevated from city council last year after the previous mayor resigned. That makes a total of 2 mayors and 3 city councilors who've resigned in the past year, along with several city staffers, including interim city manager Gary Marks, who left the job yesterday after only a week. Dunborough said he was no longer able to run the city because of concerns about how current and former city councilors operated.